Figure out town over, ready to go whenever you.
Sorry, I missed what you said there. What did you say there?
Mr. Garitano, we're recording and we're live on YouTube and it's 6:01 by my clock. So whenever you're ready, we're prepared.
Okay, just give me a moment here to set up here and I'll be on video.
Good time, sir. We're amongst good company.
Good to see you.
That filled up. It's bad for the kids. Turns it into mud. Big mud pots. I don't know if it's gonna be the new place is gonna a lot like that. We're still going somewhere else, right?
It's been bigger. Versus the one online. No, it's the same. Didn't have this stuff.
Okay, it's Joe here. So we'll get started and when Commissioner Slaughter gets in, I'll hand it off to her. So welcome everyone to our meeting here. We're going to start with the roll call of the minutes, please.
Commissioner Slaughter. Commissioner Schultz. Present. Commissioner Jailing. Commissioner Hudson. Here. Commissioner Jones. Present. Commissioner Coleman. Commissioner Shrimp. Commissioner Siebert.
Here.
Council Liaison Garitano.
Here.
And myself. And we have a quorum. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the February 1st, 2024 meeting. Is there someone that'd be willing to make a motion for approval in a second? And just help me if I have trouble seeing on the screen who that is. If you could just let me know.
I move I'm sorry, approve the minutes. Thank you. I second it.
Sorry. Okay, just help me. Who made the first there? Just hard to see with the camera angle. Kristen? Okay.
If I
All
can
right.
Name.
And then Sharon was second, right?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for approval of the minutes. Any other questions, comments, or discussion on approval of the minutes?
No.
All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye for the approval of the minutes.
Aye.
Anyone abstain or oppose? All right, so the minutes are approved. So we're going to go now to public comment. So I'll check to see do we have any members of the public in the room there?
Mr. Garitano, no one is in attendance. Oh, Ms. Siebert, I'm sorry. He's sitting at the table with Mr. Siebert, so please, I pardon my quick response.
Okay, so we do have public comment. Is that, do we have anyone that wishes to speak?
Siebert, do you wish to speak?
What? I'm sorry.
Do you wish to speak?
No.
There's
Okay.
on Zoom.
All right, so then, seeing that we don't have anyone in the room or, and we've checked on Zoom, anyone else, Joe?
No, sir.
Okay, so it looks like we don't have anyone that wishes to speak during public comments, so we'll proceed to the next part of the agenda. And I did see Commissioner Slaughter, looks like you just arrived there, so I'm gonna hand the baton to you, being that you're in the room there, make it easier to continue with the rest of the agenda.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
I'd like to apologize for my tardiness and to say that I was actually here about 4 minutes earlier, but there are geese in the walkway
I saw that.
and I couldn't turn it was, there's a public safety hazard outside generally.
Run 'em over.
Will you, you arrest those geese? Well, great, okay, looks like we made it to public comment, so it looks like we are up just in time to discuss location.
Yes, ma'am. Well, first of all, welcome to everyone tonight. The officers and all the commission members, we certainly appreciate it. Certainly a shout out to the Seabirds. Welcome addition to our group tonight, so thank you. As we have been talking over the last couple of months about the event venue, the commission has provided needed direction. Initially, we talked about two locations, one being the community college YMCA site collectively, and then town center, trying to stay where we traditionally had the event, and where most states seem to work better than not, particularly the parade. The direction that the department had at the last meeting was to try to figure out a layout, not using the field east of the theater, but that would accommodate generally the size of the event we've had in the last couple of years. Very round attendance. We've had about 100 plus tents. So 10 by 10 tents. We've had about 15 to 20 food vendors, the stage, the bounce houses, the pony rides, the climbing wall, etc. So tonight, the department is presenting to you a design here in town center that was prepared by Stacy, Kristen, and I with assistance from a firm called TerraSpec in Patel. And for the most part, it mirrors what I believe were some of the suggestions of the commission members. Placing the stage in the vicinity of Route 100 that we had for many, many years during our concert series and barbecue bash. Then providing seating. Now, plan shows fixed seating, number of seats, but again, as we know, people bring their chairs, they sit wherever they feel most comfortable, usually by the shade trees if it's sunny. And so from that perspective, though, it gives us a general idea. And then the number of booths, 10 by 10 size, the number of food vendors, the larger tents, and then obviously the children's area. And as you can see from the summary table, this particular plan gives us over 100 vendor booths, gives us about 26 ADA restrooms and wash stations, 224 nearby parking spaces. 150 of those parking spaces are in the top deck of the garage or on the top deck of the garage. 5 food truck areas, 15 food vendor tents, and then, as I mentioned, the seating for probably about 500. We did fixed seating, which we don't. All in all, it seems to correspond to the numbers that we've had from past years. The major issue, and it's identified on the plan sheet that was provided as part of tonight's packet, is emergency access. And so the department showed 2 components of emergency access. The primary one being Main Street, west to its terminus, and north on Market Avenue to the side entry area of the senior care facility. That would be unobstructed at all times and available only for emergency personnel. Saying that, we know people will walk on it, et cetera, but if an ambulance or fire truck is in the vicinity with the sirens on, most people will know to step aside, get on the sidewalk and fast shoulder and let it pass. The other was kind of a contingency one, and that is that main drive aisle that currently serves the senior care living facility. And that, again, would have to be monitored so as no seating would occur in that vicinity. It's about a 20-foot wide strip. And we've done this in the past at the barbecue bash based upon concerns by the Metro West Fire Protection District. We put cones out and we maintained an open area in front for access by EMS and fire and police personnel to the area. We submitted this to the fire marshal. I received a call late yesterday, and they have some concerns about that secondary access. And their concerns aren't necessarily what I expected. Their concerns was more if an ambulance comes in that way with the sirens on, obviously the counselor's going to have to stop. There's going to be an interruption. They're going to the front door of the facility and repeat the same thing when they leave. So it wasn't so much about getting to and from, it was just how they would impact the event itself. Suggestion from them is to flip the stage from its back facing Route 100 to its back facing the small plaza square and put the seating toward Route 100. They felt that would be easier to manage and enforce. And certainly depending on crowd size, it may not be an issue. The other thing they talked about is potentially eliminating some of the tents identified on the sheet, which are south of the senior care living facility, 31 through 48. So I haven't responded back. I said I'd take a look at it, see what it looked like. But for all intents and purposes, the good news is they didn't say no, absolutely not. This doesn't work at all. What they said was I consider some probably two major changes. They think it's a workable solution.
Do you think that they would be satisfied with a program plan? So like for that meaning, like, I think when we do trade shows, we have a plan for if something bad happens and there's like these two people who turn off these mics and there's this person who turns the lights on and we have like a whole escape route essentially. And that helps when we're getting like our insurance, like our COI. Is that something that we could create? Therefore, we wouldn't have to, I just worry about flipping the stage just because the back of the stage isn't pretty. And so just thinking in the middle of like facing the courtyard.
Well, that's a very good point. So first and foremost, I have my emergency plan.
I know you, oh, I
And
am.
as we work through this with the fire marshal and EMS and fire personnel, I'm sure that I can give them assurances from the St. Louis County Police that if there is an issue, they'll be the first there to address it. So the other question about the impact on the plaza area, as you can see, we have booths backing to it already, and that's the working area of the booths. As we know, that's where people put their stock. That's where they have their chairs, their coolers, any tables, things like that. So we've already kind of given that up for that purpose. So as we can keep the aisles and Plaza Drive open and present the best foot forward, so to speak. So I'm not as concerned about how it looks, just concerned how it functions. And I know the way we have it set up on the plan sheet works because we did it for years and years and years, and it just works good. And again, I don't want to have us collectively, the commission, the police and Department of Planning and Parks personnel responding to someone from the fire district saying, "We created an unsafe situation. It took us an extra minute to get there." And
Yeah.
That is the worst case scenario for all of us. And so I feel obliged to address their comments as best as we can. So as when we have the event, and if it's here, we're all comfortable that they're comfortable and we're comfortable and everyone's safe.
And that's the secondary. So that would only be used if, let's say, there's an additional ambulance in the back already
Yep.
addressing a health.
I would see that as just for fire access. Let's say there is a fire and they have to bring in larger trucks and they need to get to the front where the.
Yeah.
But to my explanation to the fire marshal, this is secondary. I anticipate you could use Market Avenue because there's access doors all over the building. That's a key component of any senior care. We can't find our way sometimes.
I had one more question, and I'm sure, I know you typically have done it for the folks on Main Street, but just thinking that the My Wildwood Dentist, which actually does happen to be My Wildwood Dentist, does offer Saturday day appointments. So have we offered them, like, if this is the way we go, if we could offer them a booth or just a heads up, honestly, just thinking that Dr. Nguyen would probably love a heads up.
Well, the dentist as well as the optometrist have always been cooperative.
right at their front door this time around.
Barbecue Bash, we actually used their trash enclosure to hide a generator. That's how.
I love that. That's so great.
Yeah, so we basically wanted to hide the generator and so we stuck it in on one side of their trash enclosure and both were fine. I haven't contacted either of them. I was waiting on the fire marks foremost. Secondly, you all to kind of weigh in on what you think. But the idea would be is the parking, we have the obstruction or the traffic barrier at the edge of their parking lot as it goes toward the dumpster. The idea would be with the assistance of the police, if they do have Saturday appointments, we keep that area open just for that. And I know it's usually just an abbreviated time, maybe 8 to 12 or
Yes.
something.
Really, they're hard appointments to get, let me tell you,
Yep.
this Saturday.
Yep.
And then another question, kind of just historical, when you guys have done the barbecue bash, is there any sort of like flashing lights or anything that you do at that right-hand turn? I feel like people take that turn pretty, aggressively now and just, I feel like would be a lot of people walking around and just, is there ever any sort of like traffic consideration there?
For some of the barbecue bashes, we actually blocked that lane. And we put cones out there, the large restrictors, and just sent them down to Taylor Road at the intersection. I would defer to the experts in that.
It was just a small sign to
That lane
also-
we get blocked off. There's no reason to pull in there where you can go down to Taylor.
Yeah, I guess I
There's
just.
no reason.
My other thought is I feel like, I know instinctually, I would, if I saw that there were no park, cause again, we're not gonna assume people are gonna park there illegally, but if I would just turn right in to park, but then it's like, but then
No, you're not gonna get there. It'll probably shut off at the circle also, so you can't exit that way. Circle and then that lane shut, so there's no reason to be on that little road with a car. And then go in and out through the light.
Just thinking of all our teens that just run amok on Celebrate Wildwood Day.
That is like I say, it's a handful for the police and I'm not underestimating the. But it is only for a year.
Sure, yeah, of course.
One shot and we're done. And Monday night, just kind of a sidebar, we have a contract with the selected contractor for Village Green Phase 1. He's optimistic that he can have a lot done by September 1st. I don't think it's going to be ready. Even if it was, grass seed or sod won't take in the summer months. So we can't have people over there on new sod or new grass seed. So I'm just working from the perspective, we're one and done.
It looks great, like the fact that we're able to, it looks really good. It makes, I feel like the flow makes sense. I feel like the trucks being where they're being makes a lot of sense. I love the row down Plaza Road. I know a lot of us also attend the farmer's market and it just feels like an extended version of that. So I think it's really great. Anyone else? Kirsten, I'm sorry, Sharon.
I'm not familiar with the property behind the parking garage. Is that grass or pavement?
There are.
The wide open space?
And I apologize, I should have shared a screen, I didn't think to do that. This is a grass field that's just right out the front doors.
Right, what's on the opposite side of the garage?
That is that steep slope
Oh, yeah, it's a,
and
Oh,
it's
it's
also.
like that,
yeah.
okay.
And we have problems with drainage down there.
Mhm.
So sometimes when it's a rainy summer, we have frogs that we'll have a lot of frogs if it's a rainy summer as attendees at our Celebrate Wildwood event.
Okay, I just wasn't familiar with what
No, it's a good question.
was there.
The idea was, if you're interested, the bottom deck of the garage has a pickup set of panels. So the idea is there be a basement level that would access the lower level of the garage and then 4 stories that would rise above the garage. The top deck also has kick-out panels so that people can access in from there as well. It was a great plan, obviously it hasn't covered.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Where are you putting the bouncy houses and all the
This Westfield
the left.
over here.
beyond the?
We're dealing with some slope again, I'm working from the perspective that during the barbecue bash, we used to have 3 rows of tents there for vendors. They weren't the prime spaces, obviously, but it was all done by lottery, so some people didn't get what they wanted, but and we know as we go from north to south, it gets worse. So we're trying to accommodate that. I was told, as we've started with this months ago, we may have to curtail some, if we have 100 and we've had 100 tents and it ends up working out, we can only have 85 because we've got to shift things around. Again, it's just one time. We'll do our best to address those concerns that people say, well, I'd like to be in it, but why not? Why can't I? So what the department is respectfully requesting, this is a design you'd like to see. Motion and second to do such, and we'll continue our conversations with the fire marshal, at least to make sure we have a good plan for emergencies. And then we'll get contact. We'll reach out again to the senior care facility, and then we'll make our first contact with the dentist and the optometrist.
Motion that we
move
forward. I have one more question.
Sure.
And I'm sure it's for you two gentlemen, and I'm sure the answer is yes, but I would not sleep at night if I didn't ask. This is obviously, this becomes a bit more traffic complex, whereas before we were just on one road and it was a bit easier, but there's obviously people coming down Main Street, and now we have the kids at the bounce house is really close. From a ability to monitor traffic and assess risk, do you guys feel safe and comfortable?
Yes, there's gonna be someone stationed at each one of these points where the road gets shut down. It has those barriers that you can move as long as you raise the wheels on it. But other than that, if somebody would, for whatever reason, decide they're not stopping,
Any
barrier-
of those
the
great
barrier will
barriers, yeah,
stop a box truck
yeah,
doing like 60 miles an hour. So
those things look intense.
there'll be no safety concerns for people on the other side of that barrier. I mean, I guess if somebody drove up, on the sidewalk or something.
Yeah,
But you still gotta get up on the sidewalk. Those curbs are significant also.
Better than dealing with shuttles, I think.
yeah, that's true. That was
Oh, yeah,
my,
absolutely.
I just wanted to
And
give you guys the opportunity
and
to
the
say
parade-
no if
The
it's
parade would
crazy.
end here
Yeah,
versus end here and then you go
way up there.
somewhere else where.
In the kids section, is that kind of fenced in with that plastic fencing just to corral them?
It's a very good question. And as you know, in past years, we've always fenced along Taylor
Mhm.
Road, just because that's the major thoroughfare. And if a little guy or gal gets away, we want to at least have something to stop them before mom or dad or the caregiver got to them. So that's what we would do here. Again, the goal of the department is to restrict Market Avenue as much as possible so that if there is an emergency, we can guarantee them that for the most part, who's ever on the road, not a little child, but an adult, gets out of the way.
And I would like to second Leslie's.
I'm thrilled that you guys found.
Yeah,
a
this
deal
is
to keep
really
it
great.
in the Center. I like it too.
It worked much better than we thought. I would say I was a naysayer at first, but fire district made it possible. As they obviously were feeling the cooperation. So extend my appreciation to the fire district and the fire marshal.
Do you think we need a vote? So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Great, we're in town center, baby.
I think we are.
It simplifies things. I mean, it complicates a couple of things, but overall, I think it just keeping it at home. Buys a few things.
Just as, again, a sidebar, I, over the past 20+ years, have learned a great appreciation for the St. Louis County Police. I think you'll see with this event, if we're here, how appreciation because of what they can accomplish in terms of making an event ground safe and functional.
Feels like a big thing off our list. I feel like we've been talking about that since the debrief meeting in October, so,
We really have. It's just been like, we gotta have a home.
yeah, truly. All right, next parade components and grand marshal displays.
And we'll be brief on the parade components because at the last meeting, the commission members made the big decision first, the selection of the overall theme, and then the selection of the parade theme. We, as your staff, made the critical decision and already have reserved the golf carts long before any other one. So we've got those nailed down for all of you. For the most part, what we've been doing for over the course of the past period of time is focusing on the venue grounds, knowing that venue grounds may dictate certain components of the parade. Now that we're kind of heading in the direction of town center, the next meeting in April, we'll probably see a few more of these things either underway or. The next item relative to the memorandum is the selection of the grand marshal. Traditionally, and I think that should be the case tonight as well in 2024, this has been solely to the commission members. We, as your staff, offer the responses that you gave at the last meeting. There were two individuals, and we made a few suggestions. Collectively, though, that's not the complete universe of possibilities, and that's why I called on you as the commission members to use this additional members for actually narrow this down and make a selection. I would also say that in certain years, it's taken 2 meetings, not just one. But again, it is all. And we'll conclude by just saying there were 2 suggestions at the last meeting. One was Jill Von Gruben, who is the primary author of the Wildwood history book that he reviewed and was first sold at our last year's event, Celebrate Wildwood. And then Karen Fox, who was a member of the Wildwood Historical Society and completed 2 lovely books on Wildwood history, one on one school houses and then the other on cemeteries, the old cemeteries of the Wildwood area.
That was Karen Fox.
Yes.
I know Karen.
And so then the others that were added, one was Paul Wojciechowski and the other David Glauser, and the other being Mayor Bowen. The term out was coming May after the election. And as mentioned, he's been mayor for 8 years. And then prior to that, he was on our Historic Preservation Commission, our Board of Adjustment. And I actually think I forgot to put in there the city council. So has a long tenure of service to the city, obviously beyond just mayor. So those are the items we identified, 2 of which you included, 3 of which we've added, and there's probably many, many more. With that, I'll conclude and turn the conversation over to all of you. Thank you.
I have a pitch, if you would be willing to hear me out, ladies and girls. So as I was thinking about the theme, both themes, planting seeds for the future, I think you plant, I love the musical Hamilton so much. He talks about like being a legacy is like planting seeds that you never get to see and history. And so I would like to, as much as I love Mayor Bowen and he has done so much service to the city, he still will be actively campaigning for a different election, and that feels tricky. Not saying it's a no, but that was one of the things that I thought. But I thought that Jill and Karen's family being 2, both kind of being tethered in this like historical way and both very rooted in Wildwood and rooted in Wildwood history, feels like it makes sense with our theme and feels very timely considering their recent contributions and recent passing. So that was my pitch.
Are they both bad? Did they?
Oh, no, Jill hasn't, I saw her a couple days ago. But Karen passed in 2022, so her husband and family would be.
Fox, Karen.
Yeah.
I know Karen Fox.
So that is my pitch. It feels like it fits in. And I think that David Glazer is a great person to keep on our brain for next year, because that being an anniversary year feels like not that our oh, can you tell it's been a long work day? Not that our grand marshal has to be themed, but it does feel like that kind of.
And it seems like since he was the first one and rooted in Wildwood, it kind of goes together.
True. Yeah. That's also true. So yeah, my pitch was just for those 2. I will say I am biased because I am friends with Jill and love her. So that's my pitch. Does anyone else have any big thoughts on any of the other names? And then, or maybe we can start throwing out some more names.
I'm sorry to say, I'm not familiar with either of them, so I don't feel like I can speak to it.
Yeah, I know Jill really well. She again, was she is actively a member of the Historical Society. She was the author of the book. She's a walking history book of honestly just everything. She knows everything about everything. She's one of those friends, but I did not know Karen, so I can't speak to Karen.
I think that I like the idea of those two sharing because both being involved in so much of the history. And I just think that's goes well with this year's theme and everything.
I do think if we pass on David Glazer, I would like to keep him in the notes for next year because that feels like it feels like a good one for 35.
And maybe next year it's all the mayors,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just because it's the 30th anniversary.
yeah, that would be great.
So maybe that's a nice suggestion.
did you know that Pond used to do, you could be mayor for a day of Wildwood? My husband was mayor for a day. We have the gavel. It's in my office, just saying.
They have to include him. And mayors of the day.
Leslie, were you super passionate about David?
No. I'm really passionate about any of them, so.
And I don't know Paul. I'm sad that he passed away. That is. But I did not know.
So, you know, we have honored both of these individuals at the tour to Wildwood last year. We did it in honor of both of them. They were bicyclists. Obviously, Mr. Glauser was killed on the Ridge Road riding his bicycle. Hit a batch of fleas that were wrecked and slid.
Who was that?
David
David
Glauser,
Glazer.
and went off the road and was killed. So, but we have done something for them. We had a great turnout at Tour to Wildwood, and I think it was a nice ceremony.
My daughter-in-law was in your running race, that lap one.
Oh,
that you
really?
had. She won first place.
Hey, congratulations. It's a fun event, we think.
Yeah, she likes it.
I also just love the idea of our two history gals being part of history. That feels really sweet. So,
Well, if there's consensus, we would ask for a motion and second voice vote.
And make the motion.
I will make the motion.
And I'll second it.
Let's do a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Great. Wonderful. So next steps on that, I assume you reach out to the Fox family and to Jill.
Rick Fox, those are not contacts. Actually, they would be interested. And remember, they have 2 kids.
They have 2 sons, 2 boys. I think they're both in New York.
So,
They would probably come.
Yeah, it might be a great opportunity to bring them home for a bit.
Mhm.
I bet Deb would like that.
So we'll reach out to them and we'll have a response for you all at the April meeting.
Guys, we are getting stuff done today. We are making decisions. Update on activities and, Kristen, is that you?
Okay, our event layout, as you know, we're discussing that, and that generally got approved tonight to stay in town center. Waste Services contacted. Our application for everything has been started pending details. We kind of would like some details where we're going to be. And if we do need to limit space and stuff like that, we'd like to put that in the application so people are aware way ahead of time. So everything started as far as applications. Volunteers, not yet. Sponsorships, we know we have a $30,000 goal. When we do have that online form approved, that's ready to go. When we ready to go. Beaster lighting, Mr. Bunich and I kind of talked about on the layout where that would still come into play. So we think that could be done as well. We have contacted the company and they're ready to go. I believe we're meeting them in July to talk about that. These services, of course, have that all taken care of by our experts. Oh, yeah.
So the idea is maybe since there's street lights on both sides of Plaza Drive, starting by the garage entry and then kind of going down to the west to a point where feels comfortable. Obviously, I don't want to create an impediment for our fire engine, but so Plaza Drive would be the area lit where the majority of the use are. I'd love to try to do something around the stage. And I don't know if that's the overhead strung lights or something other, but I'd like to try something there just to have a little, say, character. So, thank you.
And it'd just be a pretty entrance, I think, when
Yeah.
people come in. So, thanks. And as we know, we have selected the date. We have our big ones contacted on schedule with electric, portable restrooms, fireworks, golf carts, bands. So just waiting on the contract from our main evening band, and that's already in the works. Parade items, that's generally going to be the same as last year, same location, Chinooks coming over this way. And we do have the band from Principia interested again as well. In Grand Marshals, we've discussed tonight, so we can check that off.
Madam Chair, with your permission. How's the bagpipers going? Sorry.
That comes straight from the captain. I remind him and the captain requested, so that's to tell you all you need to know right there.
It's a running joke, so I always have to just humor me, please.
I only come here to hear you. That's a little days
What's
off.
Principia mean? The Principia is on board with the parade.
They're gonna play in it.
There's a marching.
They have
band.
they're gonna have a marching band, they got a drum line, and they got the cheerleaders that are dance and pom-pommy plays. They're pretty good.
Yeah. we
And at the end-
This year.
I think they're gonna do what they did last year. It's kind of at the end, instead of just stop, kind of play until the band or the parade kind of finishes up, and right before the opening, they shut it down. Like,
That was really nice.
They had
because
fun.
It was going, and it
I
was
love
still
that.
going. You knew that we
Yeah.
still have people coming, then we
kicking
knew
it
when it was
pretty
over.
good.
So we're on to the theme. That was my error. I have them swapped. So our overall theme, planting seeds for the future, parade is rooted in wild. It was right on everything else. Food, drink vendors, that's another thing. Just kind of waiting so we can make sure we give the food, drink vendors just as much detail as we can in the applications. We have had so many people calling though. So many people are ready to register. We just have put on the brakes till we kind of get the layout and everything more done.
Encouraging.
And concert items. We still got our interpreters. Contract in progress. Concert items completed. Finch Audio has signed on, so they're with us for the whole concert series and Celebrate Wildwood, which is wonderful because we worry about nothing with Paul Finch. Same thing with our stage. It's our stage that we use year after year. They're on board. Kids items. Pony rides, we have not yet touched base on that. Oh, she called today. She called today. We don't know with a layout if we're gonna have room, so we had to. Kind of trying to figure that one out because with the amount of bounce houses, we know even the bounce houses is probably gonna need to be reduced a little bit from what we normally do. So we don't know. And we'll kind of think what you guys think, your thoughts are on less bounce houses, ponies, but we don't know if it'll fit in there and it might just take up too much room away from everything else. So
How about less clowns?
are you afraid of clowns, Ms.
I
Jones?
like clowns.
I've been meeting with Charles. Representatives.
Yes, she's going to come out. She wants to take a look at where everything's going to be, so she can figure out her space. She's got us on the calendar. She's got save the date, but she wants to come take a look at how, because they're great at doing that. She can be like, okay, we can fit this, this, and this, and throw out what she can fit. And we did give them a good part of this grassy area over here, but we still need a clown tent. So, which we do have all booked and ready to go, the balloons and the clowns. So we have that clown tent down there and restrooms and things like that. But yeah, she will come out and give us an idea. They're great about that. That's Jolly Jumps. The climbing wall, all booked. They will fit in. Jolly Jumps will always put them wherever they need to go, wherever it's best. They always work wonderfully together. So that's all good. As I said, clowns, Juggling Jeff. Juggling Jeff will again be part of the parade, which worked out really well last year as well.
At some point, he's gotta be the grand marshal. I feel like he's just such a like
I was very impressed with how long he hung in there.
staple
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah,
I mean,
Wonderful.
he was at it for a long time.
yeah.
I don't know how we fit him in the golf cart, but he's just such a staple. It's a fun visual, isn't it? When he's.
And
They
booth
have
items,
convertible types.
yeah, and stick out. Booth items, as I've said, we haven't really opened anything up yet because we just want as much detail as we can provide these potential vendors, but we have had so many calls, so many emails, and new people as well. It's not, all our regular people. It's some newbies that have neat stuff. So we're excited about potentially having some new folks out there with us. And marketing, something new. We are placing an ad in the Art Fair source book, which that's not actually new. We've done that in the past, but the Queenie Park Art Fair program, which is a major event, we placed 2 ads out there, which I believe Mr. Boone should be talking about in a couple minutes. So you'll see what we did in their program, reaching out for new artists and things like that. So that's kind of something exciting. And the light pole banners, we promote holidays and everything through there. So yeah, that's about it. But one more thing you'll see, which is not, it's kind of separated out of your packet, is our little potential poster and postcard. It's a little bright out there with orange, but we were trying to do color wheel. And we kind of voted in-house on the colors, and this was our winner.
Yeah,
So it's good.
So and I think we might have talked about it before, we didn't have the theme on there, so we got our theme up there in the corner and our parade theme. So, our phone parties, which were a hit last year, we kind of highlighted little stars, and our bands and our fireworks as well, which is always the highlight. So if anybody has any input or suggestions or changes they'd like us to look at, we'd be happy to hear them.
Stacy, did you make this?
No.
Great job. So you guys always are like, I'm always surprised that you don't have graphic designers hiding
But-
somewhere.
But I'll tell you what, she has a lot of input. She was the orange. She's like, okay, let's look at the color wheel, threw in the orange. And then we all kind of look at, we get the assistant director down there
So
too.
good. It looks like, it looks so good. I love the orange.
Okay, good. Well, thanks, yeah.
Elementary part.
Any pony thoughts?
Any wet thoughts?
Pony thoughts on the pony?
Here are my thoughts on the pony. If we don't have, we are not in the city where this is the children's only chance to ride ponies. 40% of our city owns ponies. So I just feel like for the 1 year of it, it does not feel like it's worth. Like, I don't want you guys to be up late at night thinking about ponies. Like, I feel like if we don't have the space, it's 1 year, and like I said, it is not the kiddos' only chance in the world to ride ponies. A lot of them have ponies. At least out in Ward 1, there's a lot of ponies. If we only had a little space, I would be team like petting zoo. Like, if we wanna keep an animal moment to it, like something more condensed.
Get me started with something like that.
Where would you put the pets?
We'd have to,
The well.
Well, I might not have the right answer, Joe.
No, please.
It may not be as fun.
We'd have to maybe cut down
Need to put 'em
bounce
in there.
houses.
Uh-huh.
Just put 'em on top of the parking garage.
And then the foam party, is that also in
Yeah,
the,
I'm up for
Yes.
this.
over here?
Yep, that will be in that children's areas.
Yeah, that's a crowd pleaser, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah, that was crazy last year.
that over the ponies.
I just think about like volume, like if you have, you can get 20 kids in a bounce house, but you can only get 5 kids on a pony. And if there's one thing kids hate, it's a line. And so again, it's 1 year. So they're so like, what if we could get a petting zoo? A tiny pig? Come on.
We've done that before for the early childhood program, my favorite. We had, what did we have?
My
They
kids
nixed the
did
pig.
that.
They didn't want the pig. We had a bunny, we had a mini
A mini
donkey.
A mini dog,
Like a
that's like
duck?
10 ponies.
We had a duck.
Mini, did you have
Was it a mini
a
cow?
mini horse?
I don't think they brought the mini cow.
Mini goats too.
Yeah, I'm just,
Mini fluffy ones.
They suggested no pig though, for our age group.
Yeah.
It was 2 to 5. I don't know why.
what about 35? Imagine there will be a
Okay.
35-year-old there, maybe she wants a baby pony. I am team, if there's no space for ponies, there's no space for ponies. More bounce houses, less ponies. Does everyone think that that's? I don't have a 5-year-old waiting in a line, but I've walked by that line and it looks testy. They're waiting to get their face painted. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Next item.
It's kind of laid the foundation for me, but obviously now that we have a better idea of location. And I don't think the location's going to change, even if we have to make a couple of accommodations to the fire district. So from that perspective, we're looking on the advertising now. The thought was that years ago, I think it was Mr. Siebert mentioned that all of some of the vendors that were selling things were not necessarily as high as we had hoped. And so with that in mind, the thought was there's several large festivals, fairs coming up in let's say 5 months. Obviously, there's one I mentioned, Queenie Park Art Fair, which is a large event. It was over 3 days. There's the Lorima Sculpture Park event. There's one over in Belleville, Illinois at their circle. And then Webster Groves has an event as well. The thought is to basically advertise our event in their programs. Those are the people that we'd like to come, both from the standpoint of the artists and vendors, as well as any of the attendees. And the thought is that if this is successful, it'll be something that we can build on in future years when we're at a permanent home. So the department made the decision to go ahead and do the Queenie Park Art Fair because the deadline for submittal was prior to this meeting. The conclusion we reached is we do twofold. We have something in the booklet for the vendors, asking them to participate, contact us. And then the other is just a general, come join the fun kind of thing. And so that was just anybody that has the book and saw it. Sounds like something to do in the fall. Let's put it on our calendar. So tonight, just advising you of what we've done. It's a $450 charge, but I guess we've got to try things to see how they work. But the department would also like to do a couple more if we could. And that's why we're here asking you for that endorsement. Obviously, we do have a budget. We're being careful about it since we've not yet really launched our sponsorship efforts. But we expect to be successful there. But tonight, again, the department would like to at least try a couple of others and gauge the success this year as we move into upcoming future years. Thank you.
On one year, the Queenie Park had some men walking around and they were on stilts and they were all dressed up as different characters, which I thought was a really cool thing. I don't know who they were or anything, but just thought I'd throw that out there for, it's something different.
My two candidates, Stacy and Chris.
They were really
Officer
cool
together
looking.
wants to jump in, I'll certainly figure
No,
out.
I just study it.
Steady, yeah. I do like the idea of reaching out to different vendors. I think that was a
I do
excellent
too.
suggestion.
Elevated artists, not what I call happy hands at home artists.
Yeah.
I had a student at John Burroughs and one of my volunteer positions was chairing Unique Boutique, which is a fine arts fair that they hold every November right before Thanksgiving. But they had to apply and be accepted because there was a level of quality that we were looking for. And so I don't know if you're just taking whoever applies or if you're vetting them in any way.
We did the art festival years ago. We had it for a number of years. It was juried.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
there was a process where the commission actually reviewed the applications and submittals.
mhm,
And it was based upon the booth and its character as well as the quality of the work and type of work.
perfect.
Obviously, we combined the two events, the art festival and Celebrate Wildwood, into one. And then with COVID, we even slimmed it down a little bit more.
Mhm.
I've always been told that artists don't like a single day show. It's a lot of work for a limited amount of time.
Yeah,
But the thought was just, let's see. Since COVID, a lot of things have changed. What people used to do, a lot of people don't do anymore because of the situation. So the thought was, let's try it this year. If it doesn't work out, we don't see a bump, then obviously next year we wouldn't do it.
But I do like the idea because, to your point, I think that if we, cause I bet a lot of vendors don't even know that it's an option. So one,
Yeah.
putting these ads would let them know it's an option. And I would love, to your point, to get to a place next year or the year after to where we have so many art vendors that we could be strategic of who we brought in and, that would be, so I think this is a really good start to like build our base and our pipeline essentially.
I could get you a list of the vendors, the artists from this past year.
That'd be great. I think part of what we'll do as we get closer to the September event and start maybe in a narrative that we send out to our vendors, talk about this year's is a temporary location next year. You know, we can see the master plan and show the great images and the renderings, and we can start selling the location and get people excited about it.
We'll have so much more, 6 acres. We'll have so many more booth opportunities.
Think of all the ponies.
Think of all the ponies.
Clowns and
Right.
clowns.
That's right. We can expand the clown area.
We need a subcommittee for clowns. Leslie, thanks for volunteering.
No. Be a hard pass.
But yeah, no, I like that. Do you need anything from us on that, or are you?
If you don't mind, just a motion and second, and maybe do a couple more. I'm not sure which ones. We'll let you know what we're
Great.
planning. But if you wouldn't mind, that'd be great.
And this is all encapsulated within our marketing budget that we already have. Okay, great. That was my other question. So I motion to greenlight this new marketing strategy for vendors. Can I get a second?
Second.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any? Love that.
Thank you.
Alrighty, I've lost my agenda and might keep something else. Here we go. Discussion of memorial program. I saw that. Joe, is that you? It's me. Right. We've been talking about this one for a little bit now, but I will just reiterate. At the February meeting, the commission approved the installation of pavers at the Village Green site to honor the parade grand marshals as well as a Wildwood Celebration Commission. So we wanted to kind of show you the current pavers that we have over at Old Pond School. So it kind of look like this. And we've got kind of a little mock-up on the back of the list of names, which we know the grand marshals for 2023. Those will be set in stone. Because those were the grand marshals for 2023. Set
right?
in stone, come on.
And
In
the-
bricks.
Yeah.
yeah, the Celebration Commission, we would have those listed on there, so that's kind of how it would look. And so we are proposing a spot over there in the village green for these papers, so we would have everything.
It's like a Hollywood square.
Right? Just kind of wanted to see what anybody thought, if you had any changes, suggestions, we do
Looks
anything
good.
different.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the mock-up.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just a couple of points. The grand marshals are alphabetically. Besides the two co-chairs, the list of commission members is by ward. So we're wondering why it's not alphabetical or why. If H is behind J or whatever. We did it by ward. We could completely alter that if you prefer.
I think I one.
We end up, we have X amount of words to use as part of the overlay. We end up adding the word just to the chairs.
That's being offered to the public to buy bricks. Or-
At Old Pond School, yes, anybody, we use, primarily now we get memorials, people that actually went to Old Pond School. Family will purchase one. We had our most successful time was the year after the opening, and so we use it as a memorial program, but anybody can buy a small paper or a large paper.
And where are these pavers going?
They're going in Village Green, aren't they?
These will go out in the village green. There's an area, I don't have the rendering, and I'll have it for you in April. It's called the Mayor's Grove. We have the trees honoring the mayors with the plaques at the base of the tree. There's this kind of system of sidewalks or step flat stones. So the idea is to kind of eliminate the flat stones and use the pavers to provide the access around the Mayor's Grove, and that's real.
Where is the Mayor's Grove? I've never been there.
Well, if you know where community garden is, it's just in that general vicinity there. So it'll be a community garden, reassembled Essen log cabin, and then the Mayor's Grove further to the west.
My question is, are these gonna be made available to, how many pavers, the bricks to complete the area you're talking about?
If you're asking the Director of Planning and Parks opinion, I would not offer these. This is kind of an area where we recognize service to the city.
Okay, noted.
Participation in the community on school with the general public. I would also just suggest that if we wanted to do a program for the general public, our residents, I'd rather do trees.
I would rather, that is gonna be my next question. Are you looking for landscaping for the Village Green? And I mean, it sort of is fitting with the planting, planting seeds for the future.
Well, just some facts real quick. Sometime between now and March 31st, before the Indiana brown bat takes home here, we're gonna take out about 70 trees over next door. It's a lot of trees. Some of them are grand trees, in fact. Compensate, we had to meet the formula that we apply to developers and homeowners, so we're replanting a great deal of new landscaping. But we can always use more, in my opinion. So I think there's an opportunity there, certainly.
I would love
worth
to,
exploring.
yeah, talk about, because again, thinking about
No,
rooted in Wildwood, planting seeds in the future, if there is something. Yeah, just is there an initiative that we can push or an initiative that's on the horizon with the planting trees? Like, is there any way that they're gonna discuss engaging the public with that or?
I think that's a great idea. In fact, in my mind, we have a booth where we offer them for sale at the event. What's your opportunity? We're gonna open the village green and let's say before the end of the year. You can be one of the first to have a tree planted in the honor and, you know, whatever it costs you all decide. Trees and planting are expensive now, but like I say, I think we can come up with something in draft form so you all can look at it and give us guidance.
I was at an event in my hometown, which is in rural Oregon, and they did a benches in our new park and they had buckets in front and it was like, we're going to put and they were all for like figures in our city. And so basically it was like, if you want to contribute to so-and-so's bench, but just thinking like, if we could do that for wards, so like one of the trees could be from like the citizens of Ward 1 and that way, because not everyone has $500 to drop on a tree, but I would totally drop $10 into a, for the idea of, a tree from Ward 1. Just thinking, yeah, and that's just off the top of my head, but just thinking of ways that we could engage folks with that. And I also think that when all those trees come down, it scares people and you get the phone calls, And so just so that we could remind them that some are coming down, but other trees are going up, and that feels like a really great way to get that out.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the number of trees, but I recognize why they have to come down. And there's probably 10 of them that I'm gonna I just don't think they need to be removed, so we're working on that. Which
Even
probably will
Dr.
delay the
Rambo is
project,
out there. Trees.
But like I say, I think it's a great concept. I'd like to bring something back to you all in terms of promoting it this year and then next year, come back and see your tree.
Yeah. Take a picture with your tree, your kiddos. Oh, I'm gonna have to buy a tree. I don't have a kiddo, but by golly, I need a tree. Yeah, I would love to explore that and know what the cost is and,
Okay.
And also how great for the city and areas to be as a bit more flush. Take that to the Revenue Development Committee.
And just so you know, the village green originally, the concept was more of a, say, a passive area or contemplative. So the tree planting component works with that. We are going to have a playground, very nice playground. Proposals for phase 2. He's talking about that. All 6 acres primarily is for the fence. For the majority of the days out of the year, it's just really an area where you can walk, find a shady spot, and just enjoy nature.
Okay. Any other comments before we talk next meeting and adjournment? Guys, we really did some stuff today, so. Great, next meeting date is April 3rd, so we have April, May, June, July, August. Okay, we have 6 more meetings, that's far away.
It is, but as you know, when we get into those summer months, it starts to get a little anxious, but okay. We made it's early March, so we'll get all the information out, start doing the promotion and stuff. It'll come together too.
Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll motion for turn.
Leslie and
Second.
Sharon seconds, all in favor?
You all.
I
Thank you.
have a personal question. When is the first Music on Main?